Trenton Democrats, out of touch and ruining our state. They push offshore wind while our electric bills skyrocket. They raise tolls and fees, but haven't fixed our roads. And they care more about pronouns than property taxes. Had enough? Me too. That's why I'm running for governor. I'll work with President Trump and end Murphy's sanctuary state on day one. We'll cap property taxes, stop overdevelopment, and impose term limits on Trenton. Jersey, it's time. And when I'm governor, time's up for the Trenton politicians.
So on this channel, there has been a lot of focus by me on the New York City mayoral election, and the reason for that is because I'm a resident of New York City, a resident of New York State, and like is tradition for New Yorkers, I often ignore what's going on in New Jersey because in reality, that is who we are. But make no mistake about it, there are important elections that are happening all over the country, and New Jersey is one of the epicenters of elections that you need to vote in, because right now the Democrats are in an absolute panic. Jack Ciattarelli has been running an absolutely stellar campaign on the issue of affordability, and he's been calling out the corruption of his Democratic Party opponent, and right now they're bringing out the big guns, Barack Obama, in order to campaign for her. But as we see by the polling, it's a virtual tie, and you need to get out and vote right now. Well, or tomorrow, because I'm gonna basically leapfrog this video to Monday in my order of videos that I'm going to release, and election day is on Tuesday, and again, Jack Ciattarelli needs your vote. We're also going to say credit where credit is due to Scott Pressler, who decided to go to New Jersey right after election day to try to flip the state. The guy did great work, obviously, in the state of Pennsylvania on behalf of President Trump, and hopefully this man can work his magic again and get us the New Jersey gubernatorial seat, because guess what? We can flip this particular state. It's already becoming a swing state. That is the trend over time, and eventually New Jersey, once the most solid blue state, looks like it will be purple, it will be trending red, and I'm 100% here for it. But before we get into this, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay.
This weekend, former President Barack Obama, he led a rally to garner support for Cheryl. And yesterday, she was with Senators Andy Kim and Cory Booker at campaign events. Now, her main focus right now is trying to tell voters about Ciattarelli's support for President Trump and his policies. She's also been emphasizing the effects of the government shutdown and economic troubles.
I'm angry that we're in the richest country in the world and we're not feeding people. I'm angry that here we have an opportunity state where just a little over a year ago, businesses wanted to expand and wanted a workforce, and now nobody can find a job.
So that right there is the Democratic nominee for the New Jersey gubernatorial race, and as you could see, she is not focused on the issues of New Jersey. We're going to show you some of the messaging from Ciattarelli in just a little bit, but obviously you could see for yourself that Mikey Sherrill is campaigning against President Trump. She's talking about the government shutdown, she's talking about the evil bad orange man, and essentially her campaign messaging can be broken down into Trump bad.
I'm angry that we have a self-inflicted recession going on in 22 states across the nation. And I'm angry that the cost of everything is going up for really no reason other than to line the president's pockets.
Trump simply hearing Trump over and over again.
Now look, none of us should be surprised by this messaging. This is basically all the Democrats have in order to operate with, and the fact of the matter is, this actually did work in order to fend off Lee Zeldin when he was challenging Governor Kathy Hochul in the gubernatorial race a couple of years ago, and that was because January 6th was more fresh in the mind of Democratic voters, and obviously you had the issue of abortion at the forefront with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. However, Jack Ciattarelli is not just taking this laying down. One, he's not running from President Trump, which I think is good. It's a sign of weakness if you start running from your own party's president. But two, he is hyper-focused on the issue of affordability, and this is why property taxes are mentioned in each and every one of his ads.
They push offshore wind while our electric bills skyrocket. They raise tolls and fees, but haven't fixed our roads. And they care more about pronouns than property taxes.
Now, in addition to the focus on property taxes, as you heard in that particular ad right there, Ciattarelli is also bringing up the fact that energy bills are up in the state of New Jersey, and this is because they're trying to shut down affordable mechanisms for generating power in order to do offshore wind, in order, of course, to appease the climate change gods, which, of course, is a cost that is being borne by the residents of the state of New Jersey. Again, this is a campaign where he's running right at the Democrat on on the issue of affordability, and I think that is absolutely fantastic. And by the way, it should be a lesson for a candidate like Andrew Cuomo, who was basically running on the issue of nothing, that this absolutely 100% works. In fact, we did an entire video about how the Minnesota Democratic mayoral candidate, Jacob Fry, which should be pronounced Frey, but a lot of you corrected me and said it was pronounced Fry, is beating his socialist opposition by running on these very same issues and not being afraid. But in addition to that, there's also the issue of corruption, because Mikey Sherrill made a lot of money while she was a member of Congress. And part of the reason why she made so much money is that there are allegations, or allegations, as the super mayor would say.
People out there are judging off of hearsay, false allegations, and not facts.
That she essentially used her position as a member of Congress to pump up a small pharmaceutical company that she had a stake in. Then when the stock ended up going up, she sold off those stocks, making herself $7 million. And she never reported that she was a massive stakeholder, that she sold those stocks, or anything of the sort. And what was funny about this is that she went on The Breakfast Club, which is hosted by Charlemagne, and during the course of that interview, she was asked directly about this, and guess what? She had no answer.
I'm Jack Chitterelli, born and raised right here in New Jersey, where it's never been harder for the middle class. As governor, I have a plan to fix our state. In Congress, the only thing Mikey Sherrill fixed is her bank account.
Well, did you make $7 million in stock trades at all? Or?
I haven't. I don't believe I did, but I'd have to go see what that was alluding to again.
Come on, who wouldn't know if they made $7 million? New Jersey needs a governor who gets it. Mikey Sherrill doesn't. I do.
Now look, obviously that is an ad from Jack Chitterelli. Obviously I'm telling you to go out and vote for Jack Chitterelli so we don't get Mikey Sherrill as the governor, but he's 100% right there. You guys would know for sure if you made $7 million in your time in Congress. This would not be something that you would need to fact check if you made it on insider trading, if that was in fact false. And of course we have the ethics complaints. We have the push for the Stock Act after this ended up happening, because this is what we call an egregious example of abusing your position of power in order to enrich yourself. And one of the things I find absolutely hilarious is that Mikey Sherrill is not campaigning against Jack Chitterelli for enriching himself. She's campaigning against President Trump because Trump bad.
Trump simply hearing Trump bad over and over again.
I guess because that's really all she can do is run against the evil bad orange man, because her opponent has her dead to rights. Now, of course, the Chitterelli campaign is run extraordinarily well. You have Scott Pressler on the ground registering and getting voters out to the polls in order to try to get him on board. And even though we're past the early voting period, we still have election day, and it appears based on the polling, the election day results look pretty good, or they will look pretty good for Chitterelli, because he's gaining all of the momentum, which is one of the reasons why they've dragged out Barack Obama in order to campaign on Mikey Sherrill's behalf. Now again, I could show you ad after ad or speech after speech of Chitterelli focusing on the issue of affordability, talking about energy bills, talking about cutting and capping property taxes in the state of New Jersey, and I could also talk about the advantages that he's gained in recent years, in that many people have decided that they are going to leave the city of New York, the state of New York, for New Jersey. I know a lot of people talk about them going to Florida, but they also go to the state of New Jersey because they might want to still work in the city of New York, and those people are also aiding in turning New Jersey red.
Chitterelli has been arguing that Sherrill is inheriting the legacy of Democratic Governor Phil Murphy, who in recent weeks has had a very low approval rating. Chitterelli is also emphasizing affordability and talking about tax relief, reducing regulations, and more. He says Sherrill is just not qualified to be governor, and he just believes she will not be a good one.
The entire campaign is based on a stack of lies, her disdain for the president, right? And she can fly a helicopter. Is that going to fix New Jersey? No, it's not. We need a Jersey guy to fix New Jersey.
But as you can see right there, he is also not afraid to go after Mikey Sherrill's campaign against President Trump, and he talks to New Jersey voters about the issues that they face, again, with taxation, again, with all the different various issues around their energy bills, and all the things that make the state much more unaffordable to live in. And unlike what Mikey Sherrill's trying to do, which is tie Chitterelli to President Trump, even though this guy has been around in New Jersey for much longer than the Orange Man has been president, he is actually tying her to the current governor, Murphy, who is incredibly unpopular at this moment. And this, I think, is a winning message. This, I think, will lead to success. And I also want to point out that his ads, again, are just devastating in every possible way. There's a commercial that he's running, I gotta dig it up and play the clip for you, where basically Mikey Sherrill is asked what's the one thing that she wants to do day one, the first priority that she has, what's the bill that she would pass above all other bills, and Mikey Sherrill has no answer.
If you could pass one piece of legislation, what would it be?
Wow, I would love, that's a really good question because there's so many that are coming to mind right now. But right now, I would love at this point to pass legislation to,
You're kidding me, right? You want to be governor and you can't answer that question? We have skyrocketing electric bills in a state people can't afford. We need to fix New Jersey.
Look, guys, Mikey Sherrill is a comically bad candidate. She may very well win the New Jersey governor's race because the state is still pretty much a solid Democratic state that is churning purple, that might eventually churn red, but it looks like they're running a candidate that's so terrible and awful right now that could accelerate the process. Because again, while this guy is talking about all the issues that New Jersey voters actually care about, while he's talking about the ending of cash bail and these woke policies that are instituted by Democrats in the state of New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill is just attacking the evil orange man. She's just going after President Trump. She's trying to hug Obama and have him drag her over the finish line, when in reality, she looks like she's in a significant amount of trouble. Now, I know people are going to point out that Governor Chris Christie ultimately ended up coming into office at a time when Obama was president, so it's not unprecedented for a Republican to be the governor of the state of New Jersey, but you guys need to understand the context of that election. It was following the disastrous John Corzine administration, John the Don Corzine in the state of New Jersey, if you will, and it was, of course, after the 2008 recession, and Corzine was a Goldman Sachs guy. He was a finance guy that was in this position, and obviously he had all the standard Democratic corruption, including continuously giving out money to the teachers union after we ended up going through a recession. In addition to that, Obama had already been elected, but he was waning in popularity, so you had the issue of Obamacare passing, and that cost a lot of Democrat seats in a lot of places across the country. So that was also the opposite party thing that we talked about earlier on, where you had a Republican running for governor with New Jersey attitude like Chris Christie had. At the same time, you had a Democrat that was waning in popularity in the White House. None of these things are at play at this moment right now in the state of New Jersey, other than the fact that the previous Democratic governor, Murphy, is just not popular at this moment in time, or technically the current Democratic governor. So yeah, it looks like Chitterelli is running ahead of the last election for New Jersey governor. It looks like the Democrats are in an absolute panic. Mikey Sherrill is an absolutely terrible candidate with the stain of corruption on her. And again, Chitterelli is actually laying out the blueprint for how Republicans should run, which is on the issues that people care about, not the woke nonsense that the left-wing elites care about, which, by the way, there's a very high portion of those left-wing elites in the state of New Jersey, so there very much is a big chance that Mikey Sherrill could ultimately win, unless you out there in the audience are in the state of New Jersey and you cast your vote for Jack Chitterelli. Come on, let's do this. Let us take over the state of New Jersey. In response to the communists laying siege to the city of New York with Zohran Mamdani, you got 1 day left to decide, and if you're out in the state of New Jersey and you haven't voted yet, get your ass to the polls. Vote for Chitterelli. This man is actually pushing the Republican Party forward, and by the way, it would be absolutely devastating for the left wing if they were able to capture New York City with Mamdani, if they were able to capture the state of New Jersey with Mikey Sherrill, if they were able to win not only the Virginia governor's race, but if Jay Jones, who wants Republicans and their children murdered, wins the attorney general race, that would be a disaster. Not to mention the fact that there's Prop 50 in California. We cannot let them get get these wins all across the board. We need some kind of a victory as an indication that the Democrats' influence is waning, even in the states where they should be gaining. So yeah, 100% get out to vote. Go back Jack. He absolutely needs you. And yes, he's trending in the right direction. And yes, the Democrats are in an absolute panic. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like the video, show them by leaving a like. Subscribe for more content. Follow me on the social medias. Support me via support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the New Jersey gubernatorial race. Till next time.